Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkabutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me again today for another card making video. Today I am actually going to be using an upcoming new online exclusive bundle. It's called Label Me Grateful. This one's going to be released in July. One of the perks of being a demonstrator means that you can actually sort of get your hands on stuff before customers can. But watch this space, comes 1st of July, you'll be able to order this. It's really cute. So first off, great sentiments in this really lovely scripty font. So these ones are really great. I've got these in various fonts in other stamp sets, but it's nice to have this one, and they're slightly larger. And then we've got these larger ones which I think are really cute as well. So a really lovely set, obviously all about being thankful and grateful. Okay, but look at the dies. We've got this beautiful large label, hence the title, and then these lovely leaves and this flower. Okay, so this is the flower die that we're going to be using today to create this card in this sort of wreath style. I'm going to mix it up again. As I was sort of designing this card, I've thought of other ways to use it. So we're going to do something slightly different with the layout, but this uses all 10 of the current in colours. Okay, and working them together. Okay, all but Secret Sea and Cloud Cover are in the flowers, so I brought those in the layering, and we're teaming it up with silver. Okay, got some silver foil in there as well. Okay, so we're going to mix it up a little, but hopefully you're going to enjoy what we create today. So first off, I think we need to get some blending done so that we can get all our little flowers die cut. That's the sort of main feature, if you like. The rest is sort of layering and pulling things together. Okay, so I've just got a strip of cardstock here. This is actually willow white. Okay, or white willow. I have to get that right. Okay, and we're going to start going through the rainbow with Petunia Pop. I just realised I've got some of my inks over the other side because I was using them for something else. So just grab those. So I need my Timid Tiger and my Peach Pie and my Darling Duckling. So I was using this for something else. There's another colour challenge that I've been working on, so you'll have to watch this space on that one. Right, Petunia Pop then, dark pink. So I'm going to be using blending brushes today quite extensively. So I'm going to start off with this right at the very end. We're going for nice sort of solid colour. Not worried about any splotches or anything like that. It's all going to come together really nicely. Okay, so with blending brushes, I don't have one for every colour, but what I do have is I'm going to do Strawberry Slush next. I basically have one for each colour family. So, you know, I've got a red brush and I've got a pink brush and I've got a thingy brush. But as I've gone on, that's how I started off. As I've gone on, I have introduced more as the need arose. So I've now got sort of a light and a dark for most colours. I don't have a light and a dark red. Red is red, really. Although Cherry Cobbler is quite dark, but I don't use it very often. So that was Strawberry Slush. Timid Tiger is next. So I think all in all, I think I've ended up with 18 blending brushes, but you do not have to start off with that many. They come in packs of 3, so 2 packs would give you 6, which gives you sort of most of the colours or thereabouts. Okay, so with this technique, I'm not making the colour bands too wide because I want the flower to capture the different colours as we go across. This is peach pie. Okay, so we want a pinky red one and I want an orangey pink one and I want a, yeah, okay, so that we get that sort of blended look. Okay, Darling Duckling, she's a very nice colour. It's a little bit on the muted side, but compared to, say, Daffodil Delight, but it sort of sits quite nicely between Daffodil Delight and Crushed Curry. Very nice. And Duckling. Then we will have, so sort of Roy G. Biv, sorry, Richard of York, go battling vein, yeah. Yeah, Roy G. Biv, yeah. Depending on which country you come from, you'll have different sayings for your rainbow, but this is Shy Shamrock, so I do Richard of York Gave. Okay, oops, that one's gone a bit over there. Let's blend it out. If you need to go back and blend in the previous colour, you can do. Just grab the right brush again. Just bring back some of that yellow. Okay, and obviously I'm only doing a strip of this. Because that's how big the flowers are. Don't need a lot of cardstock, and of course you'll use less ink because you're only inking up a portion of your card. So, and then we'll go to Summer Splash, which is sort of a greeny blue. But when you have it next to Shy Shamrock, it does look more blue than green, if you know what I mean. It's one of those colours that, depending on what you have it next to, it's going to look a little different. Okay, so that's our sort of blue, if you like. Then I'm going to go into Pretty in Pink. My light pink brush for that one. And this kind of makes a interesting sort of lavender shade where it kind of interjects with the Summer Splash there. So some colours will need a little bit more work than others because they're not as bright. And you wanna, this ink will be wet, so if you use a scrap piece of card or something, that will protect your fingers. And then we will finish it off with a bit more Petunia Pop, just to sort of close the circle, if you like, and just blend it into that one at the end. Okay, and again this will just give it just a different shade than it did at the top, simply by virtue of the fact that we're blending it in with the Pretty in Pink, so you do get a slightly different shade. And I'm also not going quite as heavy with the ink. So that should be enough, but we'll just cover the whole lot anyway. Okay, so that's our in colour rainbow using everything but cloud cover and Secrecy. Isn't that fab? Absolutely love it. It's just I don't know what how it popped into my head to do that, but that's what we're going with. Right, so I'm gonna have to do a whole load of die cutting now. I'm gonna bring in my mini boss because this can do these little dies. So as for the big boss, we need a base platform and we need a cutting plate. Okay, there's no thin die adapter plate with the mini emboss, it's just the cutting plates that you need. Okay, and we will, where's that die gone? There it is. We can start cutting these out. Okay, so I'm just going to position these, could do with somewhere to collect them into. Onto, just use a piece of cardstock. Okay, so I'm not going to bother taping them down, we don't need to, we're just going to keep whizzing this through back and forth into the mini emboss. Okay, so just feed it through and wind that back and forth. Okay, you don't have to take it all the way through, you only have to take it through far enough so that you'll get the cut. Lift that out, make sure all your the little centerpieces are all cleaned out, otherwise you won't get as good an impression with the paper will stop it sort of settling in. And I'm going to lay those onto the side there, and I'm kind of going to keep them in order, which sounds a bit daft, but once they're all cut out it's not as easy to see how they all fitted together, if you like. So we're going to go again with this. I'm going to twizzle that around a bit. I'm going to try and make the most of this cardstock. I want to try and get some of the petals you know, in and covering different bits of that blended cardstock. So just in as far as it needs to and back again, and this process will be reasonably quick. Okay, so now I've got my nice orangey yellow one. Okay, we'll just poke out those little bits as we go. Okay, and basically we're going to repeat that all the way through so that we get our rainbow flowers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue doing this. I'll leave the camera running, but we're going to put that onto fast forward. Let's do a nice yellowy green one. Put it onto fast forward, and then you can skip through that, and I'll be back in a bit. So there we are, I've got all the flowers all die cut already, so they're ready to go. Okay, and we've got this really funky leftover piece. Now I'm sure some of you could think of something really ingenious to do with that. I'm going to leave it to one side just for the moment. Okay, right, so I'm going to switch around the card layers. I'm actually going to do my layering with cloud cover and use a Secret C card base. Okay, so I've got the silver label already die cut, and I've done it out of the middle of the layer because we're not going to see that. Okay, so don't worry, just you can save so much cardstock by using that technique, so go ahead, nobody will know, it will be our secret. This is the two-tone cardstock in the cloud cover, by the way. Okay, and I'm using the light side, I think. Yes, light side for my card, we're going to pop this straight onto our Secret C card base. Just line that up. The layers are 5 1/4 by 3.5, and then a little bit bigger for the silver. Okay, so on my original card I'd already created the circle and then popped it on like so, but we're going to go this way today, and we're going to forego the sort of circle in the background. We're just going to go straight with the shapes on the die cut. Okay, all right, so I'm going to bring that out just for a moment. Okay, and I'm going to use glue dots to stick these on. Okay, so these little holes in the flower, some wet glue would sort of seep through. It will dry clear, but you may not want that look on your project, so this is my alternative that I'm going to be using. Okay, and I've ended up with 6 flowers this time as opposed to 7, which is also just fine, because I'm going to do a sort of a 3 at the top and 3 in the bottom kind of scenario, rather than having that continuous circular wreath. Okay, do like the wreath idea though, so you know, I'm just offering up another suggestion as to how we can use these. So those are all ready to go onto some glue dots, and we're going to pop those onto there, but I think I need to stamp my sentiment first. So cloud cover's a little on the pale side, so we'll stick with the Secret C to stamp the sentiment, and I'm going to be using this one, something that says something like a little kindness goes a long way or something. Makes a big difference, that's it, which is really cute. So I'm going to pop that down onto here. Just hold that in place. You don't need to put any firm pressure on it, just hold it in place while that ink transfers, and it'll be beautiful every time. Okay, so that's Secret C. She goes there. And instead of using the label in the set, because obviously we were layering this, this fits inside the modern oval. Okay, the shape of it might mean that it won't fit in the heartfelt hexagon. We'll just have a look at that in a minute. I think because it narrows at the bottom, I think heartfelt hexagon might be a bit of a squeeze for it. Where's heartfelt hexagon? There it is. So yeah, I think you'll end up cutting off little bits of it down here and at the top if you were to use heartfelt hexagon. Okay, so this guy's going to need to be popped up, so I'm just going to pop dimensional sort of in the center here, and then that hopefully will be able to, because I want to just visualize how close or not I need to be to the edge. Okay, in fact what I might do is stick it in place now and then fit in the flowers around it, rather than trying to do it afterwards. Can do that, that's what I did on this one. I got it all layered up and then popped the dimensionals in the middle and sat it in the middle. I could have used cloud cover for this actually, come to think of it. Okay, let's pop that in, and hopefully that's something like straight Okay, and then we will start adding our flowers. Now I like to just pop these off with my pokey tool, she says. Just thinking, do I go shall I go round and make them look like they are kind of continuous? Yeah, maybe. Let's pop one there. We'll skip one and put the other one in the other corner. And we shall pop this one in the middle. Comme ça. Okay, lovely. So we want to continue that around, so we want this one next. Greeny blue ones. So those ones went under, let's put these ones over. I think my glue dots might have started to melt a bit. It is, for those of you who watch who are not situated in the UK, it is boiling here. It is boiling. So we have had a shower today though, but it's just made it a little bit on the humid side. Okay, so that's how that looks. Okay, what I might do is pop, sorry, part of my glue dot is stuck to there. Let's just take that off. I think I'm just going to bring these forward, you see. I think it looks nice overlapping it. So you can see all that colour. Those ones probably should have been a bit higher. Just to make it sort of, but it's a different look, right? Okay, so I think I like the wreath better, but you know, it's an alternative for you to use. And again, this was just, you know, ideas sort of develop as they as you create sometimes. So that is going to go on there, which I think is really, really cute. Okay, and we're going to stick it flat. I'm just going to use some multi-purpose for that, but I'm going to keep it behind that that sentiment, because it sometimes it can show, it sort of because of the foiled cardstock, sometimes the texture of it just shows through a little bit, so bear that in mind. And I've just pressed my nails into that, which means it's got some little divots in it, but never mind. So stamp blocks are a really good way to just sort of weigh things down if you're waiting for things to dry. Just watch you don't wobble them around. So you can do that and leave it to set, okay? But obviously in the interest of time we're going to forgo that today, so it might slip a bit while we're doing our centres. Okay, I think these are the, well, I can never remember which colours they are. They're actually basic grey and smoky slate, okay? But obviously we've got the silver coming through, and this is kind of the closest I've got to some kind of silvery kind of embellishment. And I think I'm going to go with the little ones this time, so you can still see those sort of holes and make it a feature rather than partially covering them up like I did on the other one. And I think we're going to go with the basic grey ones. Okay, and we're just going to pop those on over that central hole there. Well, I suppose I could mix it up like I did before. I used a combination before. May as well. So light ones this time on these two, and then a dark one in the middle. Okay, that mixes it up a little bit, gives it a different look. And the other thing I did on the card here is I added these dots in the background, and I've done that with a silver metallic pen, like things like oh, what's upside down? I was like, why does that look funny? Because it's upside down. Okay, so you can do that, and I've just realised how not straight and even that border is. Okay, because this will emphasise it now. So I'm just going to pop some of these around the edge, not particularly even spaced, just to add some interest. Totally optional. You might think that's a bit too much, maybe it is, but it's another little feature that you can add to cards, just to add something in the background without adding additional heavy embellishments. Okay, so just that sort of little trio of dots, okay, just to sort of bring that to life a little bit. Okay, so that's today's version. This is my original version. Okay, I think the wreath works out really well. I think if that orientation with the wreath in the middle, that would be perfect. I think you've got kind of the optimal design somewhere between these two. But I just wanted to show you the rainbow with the in colours. Amazing, right? So I really enjoyed making that. It was really fun. Okay, so like I say, this is a sneak peek really of the new bundle, so that won't be linked in the description, but I'll link obviously all the other colours and bits and pieces that I've used. Do look out for this come July. Can't remember exactly the date. It's usually a Tuesday, so watch this space for this coming out, and if I remember I'll let you know. Okay, super duper, thanks ever so much for joining me today. Those of you in the UK, I hope you're able to stay cool and get some break from the heat. Stay safe, take care, see you again soon. Bye bye.